Guys, this isn't going to be your usual kind of video. I'm not going to show you how to use blocks or how to set up stand-in switches or anything like that. This video is a bit more broad in nature, but please bear with me. I think you might like it. Now, I'm lucky in that my wife is also a guitarist. She decided to give up her gaming stuff so she could work more on guitar. She played acoustic for years, but wanted to switch to electric. She has her own modeler rig down in the basement and a couple of Paul Reed Smith guitars. Now, we both have our own YouTube channels, and because we're so busy with them, sometimes I don't see her until like 10 o'clock at night. But a lot of times when I come in the house, she's downstairs playing either along with a drum track or with a full band track. You know, it's not loud, but it's not quiet either. So it's kind of like listening to a band rehearse. She likes a lot of artists that I haven't heard before. And what's cool about that is it's not the same old 70s stuff that I'm used to. Right now, she's really getting into 90s grunge, like bands like Alice in Chains. You know, I'm familiar with their stuff, but I don't know it note for note. So when I come in and she's playing some Alice in Chains stuff, honestly, a lot of the times, I cannot pick out her part from what the band is playing. She blends right in. It just blows me away. She plays rhythm guitar, and she has been getting a lot better over the past 2 years. She's been working at what she calls tone matching, which means in addition to learning the chords and the structure of a song, she also listens intently to that rhythm guitar part and then tries to match that sound with her own rig. You know, so she's becoming a tone chameleon, tone matching her way through a set list of stuff I just don't know. Like I said, she might be working on an Alice in Chains song. The next thing, it might be a Dua Lipa song. I would never consider playing either of those bands. And you know, honestly, that's to my detriment. I'm one of those guys that did the bulk of my gigging back in the 70s. Well, at least as a guitarist anyway. I switched over to keyboards in the 80s and played keyboards up until, around 2005 when I got dragged back kicking and screaming into being a guitarist again. Because of that, most of the stuff that I play is either 70s or 70s related. I've told you many times that my favorite amp is the Plexi 100 watt, and with my old band, I can get by with a Plexi, a delay pedal, and maybe a dirt pedal. That's all I'd need. Now, for the past 50 years, I played a Les Paul, so you can tell you would find me in the classic rock section. There's nothing wrong with that, but my wife's methodology has me rethinking my own strategy. Prior to getting my Axe FX3 in 2019, I had a stereo tube amp rig with 2 large pedal boards. I would never bring all that gear to a gig because it was just way too much and it weighed too much. But look what we have now in our Fractal modelers. Over 300 amp channels, hundreds of effects, thousands of cab IRs, hundreds of quality presets. We couldn't have imagined anything like this back in the 70s. And really, there's still a lot of guitarists today that have a hard time wrapping their head around modelers. But I would be willing to bet that most of us have our favorite preset or maybe couple presets, and that's where we live. So it's like we're maybe using 5% of what this thing is capable of, if that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you are happy, rock on, my friend. But there is so much waiting under the hood. We have access to the greatest warehouse of amps, cabs, and effects, and we use a couple pieces of gear that's stuck over in the corner. Now, before you say, hey, I'm using at least 60 presets on a regular basis, to you, I say congratulations, and also, this video is not for you. You are excused for the rest of this video. Go have some fun. I've been doing my Preset of the Week series to expose you to some of the presets you might not have tried, along with some of the favorites. The thing about using some of the more out there presets is that you can't rely on your standard riffs. You have to try something you may not have ever played before. You have to play outside of your comfort zone. And man, that can be challenging. But hey, so what? When we were young and just learning how to play, we had to push our boundaries every day. Otherwise, we weren't good enough to play in a band. And if we weren't good enough to play in a band, forget it. At least that's how it was back in the day. But I mean, even if you're just an at-home player, you push your boundaries every day so you can get competent on your instrument. But like I said, we achieve a certain level of competence and we get comfortable in what we know how to play and we stop pushing our boundaries. And we're just playing the same fun stuff over and over. Now, hey, I did say it was fun stuff. I'm suggesting that for our head and hands, it might be good to try some of the other presets and try some other styles of music that we are not used to. Your go-tos will still be there. They're not going anywhere. But you know, from time to time, it really is a good idea to break out of our comfort zone and challenge ourselves. My wife gets stuck sometime and asks me for some help, so I have to learn a new song that I've never heard before, remember it, and show her how to play it. Talk about challenging. But I'll bet if you could look at my brain, it is lighting up like a Christmas tree. That challenge is so much fun. It reminds me of the old days, you know, where you heard a new song for the first time and you just had to figure it out. You know, you're not playing the same old thing and you have to figure out new chord changes. It's like going to the gym for your head and your hands. You know, you can eat prime rib every night if you can afford it, and it probably tastes good every night. But after a while, you get used to it. Something as simple as a fish dish might wake your taste buds up. If not fish, how about pasta? The possibilities are endless. And it's the same thing for us guitar players. Try out some of the other choices on the menu, and try my wife's tone matching technique on a completely different playlist. You know, you might be pleasantly surprised. For example, if you play a lot of heavy stuff with a lot of distortion, try a really clean preset and try wrapping your head and fingers around the main riff in Commander Cody's Hot Rod Lincoln. Now, you know, your head and hands might scream at first about it, but after a while, I bet they will love that challenge. And on top of that, you'll have figured out a new riff. Now, next Wednesday, we will be checking out the latest preset of the week. You don't want to miss that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I will talk with you next week.